Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Easy English podcast. I'm so glad that you're here, whether you're listening while walking, cooking, driving, or just relaxing. And I hope that today's episode is going to give you some new insights and ideas in the English language about how we express one of the most powerful, most important emotions in the world. And that emotion is love. Okay. So you're probably thinking, Oliver, come on. It's too late for Valentine's Day. It's already March, and Valentine's Day was a while ago. I know I'm a little bit late on this topic, but I think it is an interesting one. So when we think of love, we often think of romance. But love is so much bigger than that. It is between friends, family, and even communities. And while this idea of love is universal, it is all over the world, the way that we express it is not the same in every country. Different cultures have different ways of showing affection. So that can be to show and express your love. It could be words, actions, traditions, or even what is considered to be normal or too much, for example, when it comes to expressing love. So today we are going to go on a journey together across the world, and we're going to look at how different languages describe love, how different cultures express love both physically and emotionally with their language, and why some cultures are more open and expressive while others are more reserved. They maybe less display their love. And most importantly, we are going to look at how understanding these differences can help us communicate better and avoid misunderstandings. This might sound like a lot, but it is quite a simple and quick topic. So let's get started. And we're going to start with something simple but fascinating, very interesting. The words that we use to talk about love. If you speak English, you might think that love is just love. You love your partner, your dog, your best friend, chocolate, and a good movie. But do you love them all in the same way? Probably not. One of the limitations, so something that holds or restricts the English language, is that we only have one word for love. But other languages are much more detailed. So if we look, for example, at Greek, so maybe some of my listeners here are from Greece, and from reading online, I don't speak Greek, but I can see that there are 4 different words for love. Eros, which is like romantic or passionate love. Philia, which is like a deep friendship, the love that you feel for close friends. Then there's also love for family, a word for that as well. And a love which is often associated with spirituality. So imagine if we had all of these words or different words in English too. Maybe it would change how we express our emotions. And I also read online that in Japanese, so for all my Japanese listeners out there, that there are different ways to say that I love you or I like you. So saying I love you is very serious in Japanese. And it's not something that you can say every day. So instead, you can say something which means like I like you or have affection for you, which is interesting because I think in English we use the word love very, very casually. So, how does language affect love? If your language doesn't have a word for something, does that mean that you feel it less? Probably not, but it does change how you talk about it. Some cultures, they prefer to show love through actions, while others are more verbal, so they use their words. And that brings us to our next topic. So, how cultures express love physically. And this is something that can often cause misunderstandings. Physical affection. How comfortable are you in your country hugging or kissing or holding hands, for example? The answer might depend on where you come from. In Western countries, hugging and kissing is normal. So in many Western countries like the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia, it's totally normal, of course, to hug friends when greeting them, to hold hands or kiss in public as a couple, to say I love you to family and close friends frequently. Even in some other European countries like France and Italy, it's very common to greet each other with a kiss on the cheek, sometimes twice or even 3 times. Of course, there are other countries where people are less physically affectionate in public. And in these countries, you won't see couples hugging or kissing in public very often. And instead, love is often expressed through actions, like doing something kind for someone. And hand-holding between friends, especially women, can be common in some of these places too. But public displays of affection, so like kissing and hugging and that type of thing, are less common. So for me, it's interesting how this is different in different countries. There are also some countries which have affection, so showing a physical affection between friends, but not couples. And this is common in some Middle Eastern countries where romantic displays of affection in public are not allowed. They're not considered normal or acceptable. But it's normal for male friends to show affection as a sign of deep friendship. Of course, it's a different type of affection. So there we go. And if you ever travel and you feel a bit confused about maybe those public displays of affection, that's why. It's each culture, we have different ways to show our love, our affection, and we express them in different ways too. So they say that actions can speak louder than words. And that's quite true in many cultures. Let's have a little look. For example, in China, parents don't always say, I love you, but they show love by doing other things. So by cooking for their children or working hard to provide for them. And, in other countries as well, people prefer to perhaps give gifts. So it's another way of showing love. And even in English-speaking cultures, we have these different ways of showing love too, like gift giving, so buying small, meaningful presents, or maybe doing something helpful for someone, or spending quality time with somebody. So giving them your time and attention. These are all different ways to express your love and express how you care about people. So why would you think that this matters? So how we express ourselves with love and language too with love. Because when you interact with people from other cultures, you might misinterpret their behavior. So, for example, if someone from a culture where people don't say, I love you very often, doesn't say it to you, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means that they show it in a different way. In the same way, if an English speaker says, I love this song or I love your dress, that doesn't mean that it's a deep emotional love. It's just an expression. So I do think it's really cool to just understand these little differences about our cultures. You know, with English, I can tell you that in most English-speaking cultures, we use the phrase and the words quite casually. But of course, it depends on context. You know, if you were to look at someone and you're in private and it's a very serious, deep moment, saying, I love you, or I love time with you, or anything related to love, it means something so much deeper than saying it in a casual way in public, for example. It all depends on how you say it and the context, the location, how you express it, where you are, who you are with. So in English, it can be very casual or it can be very serious. And of course, we also find it very important to express your love in different ways. With actions, maybe with little gifts for some people, but not for everyone, and with time. For some people, time is a really big expression of love. Simply spending time with someone and giving them your free time and attention. This is a really big way that a lot of people like to express this emotion. If you like more advanced topics like this one, you should really go and check out the Easy English Patreon. It's in the link in the description below. And I do more advanced episodes with more complicated topics like this, but I also speak faster and I make it a little bit harder to help push you to the next level. So if you want to keep improving your English and take it to the next level and also support the show, click the link in the description below and you can go and support the show and continue learning. Okay, so now I want to hear from you. How do people in your country express love? Like, do you think that people prefer words or actions? Is it acceptable to express love and affection in public, or people more do this in private? Have you ever maybe had a cultural misunderstanding around affection or love? Let me know in the comments, maybe on this episode or on YouTube if you're listening on YouTube, and I would love to hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Remember to follow or subscribe if you're new, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.